Hey guys, it's Hawk here, back with another video. This is semi-scripted, so if I say or stumble or ramble, I'm sorry. This happens whether I'm scripted or not, so it's just something you're gonna have to deal with. And this will start with the do's and go on to the don'ts. This is just my opinion, and this is on giving criticism to an artist. And when I say artist, I'm focusing more on drawing and painting artists, not the other types of art. Of course, you can apply that to there if you really want to, but I'm more talking about drawing and painting when I am talking about art. So, whether this is for videos, not for videos, whatever you're doing, this is just my advice on what to do. So, number 1, educate yourself. Use the knowledge you get from educating yourself about art. And here's why I say that. So, you should educate yourself on anatomy, color theory, perspective, lighting, shading, like different forms, like 3D shapes. Educate yourself on styles, because of course sometimes well, actually a lot of the time artists are not going for full-blown realism, which is completely fine. Instead are having like exaggerated parts of it, which is also completely fine. I do it too. But if you educate yourself, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can try to help them work within the style that they're going for. And so they're still learning with like anatomy and things like that, but they can incorporate it into their style and go off of that to help them improve in their art, and they can still have their style. Another thing to do is to give the artist ways to improve, provide techniques, references, alternatives, and programs to use. This gives the artist something to go off of from your critique, and they'll really appreciate it, because when people just say the eyes look off, that was the artist with so many questions. How so does it look off? I can't read your mind. I don't know what you mean by that. I wanted criticism from you so I can actually have a way to improve, and if you're just going to be lazy about it, you have nothing to go off of. However, if you actually give them something to go off of, they'll really, really, really appreciate it. It's like, oh wow, this artist isn't lazy. Yeah, I'll be more able to accept their critique, because I know they actually know what the heck they're talking about. They're actually, devoted to helping artists. And another thing that I find useful is that when you're critiquing an artist, I do this in my videos, and I look at multiple pieces. And the reason I do that is because if you just go off one piece, you can't really see much. Sure, you might be able to see something that they can improve upon, but what if that was just a one-time mistake? Or what if that's a stylistic thing? If you look at multiple art pieces, you can be like, wow, there is a common thing that they could really work on. Because if you just go off of one piece, you won't get the full picture. If you have to go off of multiple pieces, I suggest at least 2. When you go off these, you will see, oh, so they actually consistently color weirdly in a way that doesn't seem to complement the style and look that they're going for. And now I know, oh, I can give them this technique, this reference to help them, and now I understand, oh, this is a common thing they could really work on, and then you get a better picture of what you're looking at. Another thing I think you should do is to use the compliment sandwich. Now, this is just suggesting you really don't have to do it, but it's something I prefer to do. And if you don't know what that is, it's say, give something you like, things that you notice that they could improve upon, whether it's in that piece or multiple pieces. I personally do multiple pieces. And then maybe things you reassure them, say what you like again, and then give a general overview. That's what I do. And you can be blunt if you want to, but remember to be respectful, because if you're rude to the artist, they'll probably be like, oh, this person just insulted me. Why would I take criticism from them? They're not really doing much, and of course, the truth can hurt, but like, I advise trying to be respectful to the artist, being courteous, whatever, because if you're rude, the artist is a lot less likely to take the criticism. Now, on to the don'ts. Now, of course, with all of this is just my opinion. You don't have to take it. These are just suggestions. So do not force them to take the criticism. And yes, criticism can help an artist, but no artist actually has to take it. If anything, from my experience, trying to force an artist or a person to do something, if you're trying to force somebody to do something, they're a lot less likely to want to actually do it or listen to that thing, or like listen to the criticism from people in the future, because they're like, wow, these people just force it upon me saying I'll never improve if I don't take the criticism. and they're saying all these rude things to me, and they just try to force it down my throat, and now I don't really like the idea of critique because it doesn't seem too great. See, sometimes I can leave that impression on them, and if you try to force it down their throat, if anything, it'll make them more against taking criticism, and you will just have an opposite effect of what you were trying to do. And I said this earlier, but do not just say, this looks off. For example, the eyes look off. This is the blandest, most laziest way of doing things. It's not even constructive, considering you provide no way to possibly fix it. If you just say, the eyes are off, what does the artist have to go off of? Tell them how the eyes look off, if they're consistently doing something. And not even just that, just not even telling them how the eyes are off, provide ways they can actually improve. Because they're like, oh yeah, I know the eyes are off, but how are they off? Okay, now I know how they're off, but I don't even know how to fix it. I don't know what ways I can fix it, what techniques can I use, what references can I look at, what's a good reference, what's a good program to use if the program I'm using really doesn't seem to be working with me. What different alternatives to whatever techniques whatever I'm doing can I use? If you just say it looks off, the artist has nothing to go off of. It is so bland, lazy, just annoying. Just when someone goes, the face looks off. Yeah, gee, no shit. Want to give you ways to fix it? Like, I'm sorry, I get really infuriated when people do this. I'm just like, man, you're so lazy. At this point, don't even bother giving any criticism. Just don't comment at that point because, you don't know what to talk about. At least I assume so. And, lastly, don't just insult them based off something. Base art, fetish art, whatever, do not do it. Like, forcing them, this will likely put the artist off and not want to take criticism. Of course, if there's something like, maybe they're breaking some laws, or maybe, like, putting some personal information in them, they're harassing people, or something like that, I wouldn't say to necessarily insult them, but just let them know, hey, this isn't such a great idea, you should probably stop, because these are the legal ramifications. However, if they're just drawing somebody with a big old belly, so what? It doesn't matter. People have their kinks, people have their fetishes. It shouldn't matter that they have that. It shouldn't matter if they use a base. People don't have to just draw their own stuff. Like, they can still, like, use bases if they want to. They can create their own bases. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as it's not stolen, if they're not breaking the law, it's completely fine. Because honestly, like, if they're breaking the law, don't harass them either, but, like, just let them, hey, stop. But, like, if they're just doing base art, like, fetish art or something, just don't insult them based off, or you just have, like, maybe you have some beef with them, just don't. Because, if anything, like, just saying, just trying to force them to take the criticism, this will also make them put off the criticism, because, like, man, now these people are insulting me, and not just trying to force me, now they're actually insulting me. Why the heck am I gonna take criticism? These things keep happening. Oh my gosh, people are not gonna be, like, actually helpful. Like, that, at least I used to be like that, like, a long time ago, but, like, because people would be so mean, they tell me to stop driving, they just tell me, like, oh, you have to take criticism. It's like, why am I gonna take the criticism? Like, you're not even being constructive. Just, like, don't do that. It's not gonna end well. You're going to get an opposite reaction to what you want, or if they're young, you might make them stop drawing, and who knows, they could be the next Da Vinci or something, and you just crushed any potential they could have, and it's just not good. So, to recap, things to do: give the artist ways to improve, provide techniques, alternatives, programs, and references to use. Please, educate yourself on things with art, whether it's color theory, anatomy, perspective, lighting, shading, coloring in general. You should probably use the compliment sandwich. If you don't know, obviously, just, so they're like, oh, so they're not a complete asshole, and, they know what they're talking about. They actually provide some real constructive criticism, and of course, if you educate yourself and actually give the artist ways to improve, you shouldn't have any issues. And of course, I also advise that you look at multiple pieces so you can see the common theme that might need to be fixed. Don't force them to take it. You'll just get an opposite reaction. You won't accomplish anything by forcing it down their throat. I'm dead ass serious. And don't just say this looks off. It's the blandest, laziest, most boring way of doing things. It's not even constructive, considering you provide no way of them to actually fix it. And do not insult them based off something stupid like faces or like fetish art or like maybe some beef. And if they're actually doing something illegal, just report them. Maybe a small PSA, but don't go like witch hunting them. Don't go harassing them, because honestly, you won't really accomplish that much. It'll probably just get another opposite reaction, and things just go flying back in your face, and you're like, oh crap, I fucked up. So, you probably shouldn't do that. So yeah, hopefully you can understand my points. Hopefully I can help some of you. And yeah, if you want to give constructive criticism to artists, now you're like, hey, these are things that I can do if I want to give constructive criticism to artists. These are just some tips. So this is Hawk, signing out. Hope I can help.